Hi, my name is Jonna and I play football for Chelsea FC and for the Swedish national team. And you are listening to the Blue Day podcast.
Fellow Chelsea supporters, welcome to the Blue Day podcast. I am your host, the man with a face for podcasting, Keith Lawrence, and to join me on this episode are my two co-hosts. They are Chopper Harris and Gary Chivers. Gentlemen, how are we today?
Yeah, fine. Yeah,
brilliant. Buzzing. Well, I'm assuming you're buzzing because of the recent Chelsea results and the game against Leeds United tomorrow.
Well, I thought our performance against Everton was unbelievable. I thought we were brilliant, absolutely brilliant, to a man. Played, which was going to be going to be a really, really difficult game for us. We played ever so well, and we're looking good. What do you reckon, Ron?
Yeah, no, I think that obviously Liverpool going through a bit of a dodgy spell as regards results, but I think the Everton result was top draw. I think they played well, and the good thing at the moment is that we're not conceding too many goals, whereas before it was always a little bit iffy that you had to score a couple of goals to get a result. But no, I think they've done very well the last 7 or 8 matches or 9 matches that they're undefeated. So let's hope that the results continue to go in our favour, Chips.
We seem more comfortable at the back as well, don't we? We don't seem sort of whereby, with all due respect, under Frank, we was possibly a little bit naive with the ball as defenders, but now we just look more accomplished and we're okay to take it from defence to midfield. And even when we've got players attacking us, we don't look like we're going to just go down under the pressure, do we?
Go on, Chiz. I was going to say that I think that the manager's changed the system a wee bit by playing, say, like 3 central defenders and two wing backs, and the system at the moment seems to be doing ever so well, and it seems to suit the players that he's picking.
Well, if you look at James as a fullback, I mean, he loves getting forward. Alonso never stays at left back anyway. He could be on the right wing. So you need that little bit of cover at the back, which ensures that you're never struggling. You've always got that extra man. But the performances from the back 5, or if you'd like to say, have been exceptional. I don't know what's happened to Christensen, but he looks one hell of a player now. And I thought he was in for a difficult time against the Everton, the big, what was his name? The double barrel name?
Calvert-Lewin.
Calvert-Lewin. And Richarlison. I thought it was going to be a really, really difficult game for him. And he swept him aside. I thought it was a great performance by him.
Did you two play with sort of 3-5 at the back in your playing days at all? And if you did, just sort of describe to myself and the listeners the actual difference in defensive shape and sort of the defensive setup.
Well, I think that if I go first, I think in our time nobody ever played that way, did they? 3 at the back. Sometimes they played with a back 4 with a sweeper if you played in some of these European sides, but I can't ever recollect in my time at Chelsea that we ever stayed with just 3 people at the back.
The only time we done anything like that, and I think Ron was about 68 and still playing. And he played in a defensive midfield role, which was like a Makaleli role, what you like to say. And because Ron couldn't get forward, he used to encourage me to get forward. And if I went forward, he would just slot in. Ron was one of the first ones ever to play in that position, where he just he just guarded the two centre halves, and it worked for us, Ron, didn't it?
Yeah, it suited me because I never had to get forward so much or anything like that. I was just a safeguard from counter attacks from the opposing side. So I enjoyed it. It was something different to me playing that way, and as I say, it seemed to work quite well.
Yeah.
In regards to the Liverpool and Everton game, the one thing that sort of came out to me was how comfortable we was on the ball in our attacking third, and players like Mason Mount, who consistently are playing to a high standard. And if you look at Timo Werner, yes, the goals still aren't there for him, but his movement off the ball's tremendous at the moment.
Well, I think Mason Mount, seems to be getting better and better as the season is progressing, and obviously people, because we do the hospitality, I've always said to people I'd rather judge the players after I've seen them for a fair time, and I think the lad seems to be getting better and better. He's a very confident lad on the ball. He's always looking for the ball, and as regards to the Werner, he's been in the position. I know he's missed the chances, but at least he's getting in the position to maybe score a goal or two. So hopefully he'll have a bit of luck for him, and instead of it in the post and coming out, they'll hit the post and go in.
But don't you think, Ron, the thing I like about Mason Mount, he's actually for the last couple of games gone to another level. I think he's been outstanding, both attacking but defending as well. I mean, he gets back and he chases and he hurries down, he closes down. I think he's been brilliant. And what's happened to Havertz? Havertz looks a different player altogether. Seems like he's settled down into his position. He's wanting the ball, he's making the right runs, he's holding it up. And he's a handful at the moment. They've all sort of clicked at the same time, which would have happened anyway. But they just seem to have done it at the same time.
Well, as I say, I think you know yourself, Chiv, you're always in with a chance if you're keeping clean sheets, whereas before we couldn't do that. But hopefully the clean sheets continue going, and you'll always get an opportunity of sticking the ball in the back of the net, and let's hope the results keep on going in our favour.
Chelsea definitely, for me, look a different side to what they were under Frank. They do look more assured, they look more comfortable defensively, and the fact that players are coming in, out from the cold, really, and the likes of Havertz has come in, and he was exceptional against Everton. I know there was some people were a little bit sceptical when he came in, thinking he hasn't played a lot of football, and with even Thomas Tuchel playing, the likes of Jorginho and Kovacic still in midfield, there's rumours of potentially Jorginho going. There's a rumour going round, especially in Italy, that he might be going back to Serie A. Gents, would you be surprised if Jorginho left Chelsea at the end of the season?
Well, I think obviously his agent's got to be working out the figures and seeing how much it is for the agents copying it. So, that people seem to move around nowadays a lot more frequent, than what it was in our time. But no, I think the fella's done ever so well, and hopefully that he'll, if it is these rumours are true, he decides to stay at Chelsea.
Yeah, I'd like to keep him as well. I think he's a decent player, and he's another one who's playing well. But when you've got 8 or 9 or even 10 players playing well, you're going to win games, and he just looks comfortable in there. He's the one who he's always got a bit of time on the ball. Obviously, he lacks a bit of pace, which he brought down, I think, was the Everton player, the other day. But on the ball, he's tremendous, and players have got that confidence in giving him the ball. But we're all clicking as a team to a man. If you go round to every player that's playing at the moment, they're all playing well. I hope Timo Werner gets a goal that comes off his knee or his ear or something like that. He seems to be hurrying up these strikes as, I don't know, he's snatching a little bit. And that's all to do with confidence. And when he gets one, he'll get 2, 3, 4 and 5. He's getting in the right positions, and that's the main thing.
The other player this week has been linked with moves, and it's partly gathered pace, not in this country, but in others, has been Christian Pulisic. There's, again, as you said, Ron, agents possibly touting their clients to other clubs, but there's rumours that he could be off in the summer. Apparently he's far from happy with his, first team opportunities at the moment. But, these are players that have got so much potential going forward, and the way Thomas Tuchel likes to play football, surely players of this ilk would look at themselves and think, I should stay at least for another season, see how it goes out, because even this season he's been injury prone. So I'm looking at them rumours, I don't understand where that would come from and why Chelsea would look to sell him anyway, because we paid a lot of money for him in the first place.
Well, I think he's one of these fellas that's can't command a regular spot. Maybe if he was to play regular, he would be a lot more happier and maybe find the back of the net. But I suppose, sure, Chivers would tell you, with these agents nowadays, the more the players move around, the more the agents earn. So maybe he's a little bit unsettled. There's nothing worse than, and I'm sure Chivers would tell you that when you're training every day of the week and you look at the team sheet and you're not including, you think yourself, well, is it worth it? Is it worth me going somewhere else where I can get a regular spot? So at the moment, he's just got to, I don't say unfortunate that side's winning, because people don't like to change a winning team.
Well, I'm in certain respects, I'm glad he's not playing, because it means that the players that are playing that well, and you've just got to you've got to wait for your chance. And when he will get a chance, he'll come into the team. But when the team's playing well, you've got to come in and play well to keep your position. And he'll get a chance. It's just being patient. I'm quite glad he's unhappy, because it means that the players that are playing really, really well to keep him out. So he's just got to be patient, wait for his chance. But when he gets his chance now, he's got to take it. And if he plays one or two games a little bit off form, there'll be people on the bench, like he is at the moment, wanting to come back into the side and take his position. You've got to, when you get your chance, you've just got to take it. And he's just got to be patient. He'll be okay.
Well, with regards to taking the opportunities and taking chances, Thomas has done that with our left wing backs in Alonso and Ben Chilwell. He seems as if he's got a bit of an understanding with them, where he's rotated them now, in certain games. It probably didn't happen too much back when you two were playing, but it certainly had an effect on Chelsea so far.
Well, I think whoever plays in that formation, I think Alonso's ever so good in that role, because he's good at getting forward. So I don't think there's that much difference between the two of them, but the system seems to suit, I think, Alonso better than it does the other lad.
Yeah, but the way I see that, I see as Chilwell as a better defender, and if you've got someone with a bit of pace on that right hand side, you're going to be playing Chilwell. You're going to play Ben Chilwell against him. If you're playing at home and you want your defender to get forward like Alonso does, obviously without no how can I say, responsibility, you play Alonso, because Alonso would just drift forward all the time. He loves getting in the other half. He loves getting in the opponent's box, and he comes up with the odd goal. So defensively, you go with Chilwell 10 times out of 10. Offensively, you'll go with Alonso against the, not, I shouldn't say the poorer sides, but possibly the weaker sides.
So at the moment, Chelsea are looking quite well for a fourth place finish. The next games that Chelsea have in the Premier League: Leeds United tomorrow, which we will discuss, West Brom at home, Palace away, Brighton at home, and then West Ham away. Those are the next 5 Premier League fixtures. Gents, just sort of predicting a little bit further forward, would you expect maximum points from those games?
Well, I think that, the game at Leeds is going to be a tough fixture. Because, just by the goings on over the years between Chelsea and Leeds, it's always a tough fixture. As regards to West Ham, I think they've done ever so well, to be where they are at the moment. But I think when you're playing a team that's up there with you, it's important that you win them and you cop 3 points and they lose 3 points. As regards to Brighton, I think it's going to be a tough game because they're fighting. They're on the relegation, and Chiv sees them a lot more than I've seen them. But, I think out of those 4 games, if Chelsea can finish up getting 9 points or 10 points, I think they've done ever so well.
Yeah, they're going to be tough games. I mean, I think you mentioned Palace there as well.
Yeah.
Brighton, they're like you say, they're fighting, but they're games that if you look on paper, you're going to win. If we play anywhere near like we're playing at this present moment in time, they're games where you look at, we're going to take 3 points. Doesn't matter if it's Brighton, West Brom, they're all difficult games, but if you look on paper, that's. And Ron's gone for, did you go for 10 points, Ron? Did you? I reckon 12. I reckon 12. I reckon, the way we're playing at the moment, we're playing exceptionally well.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do, gents. I'm going to write these down, so say how many points we've got after the 5 games. And then after the 5 games, we will look back and then we'll sort of go who was sort of nearer the mark. But we've got Leeds United tomorrow as we've established, and Leeds and Chelsea don't like each other. We obviously they don't get on. Ron, obviously you played in the infamous 1970 FA Cup final against Leeds, and everyone who's followed Chelsea to a certain age has seen the DVDs, has watched the game. Was the intensity still there, as well as obviously that infamous FA Cup final? Because Leeds at the time were doing so well, and Chelsea were trying to get to that point. What was the rivalry like at that stage?
Well, I think that going back to our team, we Leeds had a reputation of being really, really tough side. With the likes of Big Jack and Norman and them. But I think that if sides played against them and they were a little bit iffish, they would steamroll over. Whereas, in the games that we played against Leeds, I think we had some tough guys, and also the likes of Charlie Cook and Pete Rosgood, whereas they had like Eddie Gray and Johnny Giles. And I think it was always a tough fixture. They were a good side, and I've always said that I think they should have won a lot more than they did, but they always seemed to fall along the wayside. But from my point of view, it was always nice to play against Leeds because you always had to roll up your sleeves and fight back. And I think we had the players in the side at Chelsea to be able to do that. And when you go back to the cup final, I think they are the toughest. Like 2 games, like the first game was a draw and we went to a replay, and I think they're the toughest games. And when you look at some of the tackles that went on, you'd have been banned for life today, whereas before nobody even said anything.
You was a little bit late, Ron, weren't you, on a couple, but just a little bit. Probably about an hour.
Well, I was never the quickest anyway, Chiz, was it?
But they're playing good stuff. They played some good stuff, Leeds, don't they? Now with the manager Bielsa, the way he's got them playing. But they're very up and down at the moment. They play one game or a couple of games well, and then you see them in another game, and they seem to have lost it. They lose their way easily in matches at key times in matches as well.
I do like that Patrick Bamford, who was at Chelsea for a time. He didn't get his chance. He had to go away, and Bamford's done okay for Leeds so far, and there's a lot of talk about the goalkeeper. People have sort of raved about him as well. For me, he looks a bit skinny for me as a top-class goalkeeper. But yeah, as you say, Leeds are very, very yo-yo at the moment. So they could turn up tomorrow and cause us a scare. But then, on the other hand, they could roll over and we could end up winning 5 or 6-0. Leeds are that type of side. Gary, what was obviously your memories of watching Leeds United in that time?
Well, there was always a good football inside. They had some great players. Ronnie turns around and says, you look at, players like Mick Jones, Alan Clark in the 70s, but there was always a decent football inside and they played good football. And always going to Ellen Road, that is a tough, tough place to go to. The crowd get behind them. They're a good crowd for Leeds. They get good supporters when the turnstiles were open. But it's always a difficult place. Always a difficult place to go. It'd be a tough game. It'd be a tough game. But it's important that we don't worry about them. That we stamp out our authority on the game. Let us dictate the play. The way we're playing at the moment, we've got no worries going into the game. And if you look at their next few games, they're all very, very, very winnable games.
Would you expect someone like Timo Werner to start up top or play on the left with Olivier Giroud? I think Olivier Giroud would be perfect for tomorrow's game.
Yeah, so when Giroud does win the knockdowns, which he wins his fair share, Timo's a little bit in and around him so we can feed off of him. Sometimes I look at Giroud and sometimes he's up there on his own trying to hold the ball up with no one to give it to. I'd like to see Timo Werner a little bit closer to him at times.
Ron, how impressed have you been with the players like Reece James and Hudson-Odoi? Because they seem to have a very good combination partnership on that right-hand side, don't they?
I think they've done ever so well, the two of them. I think the lad James has got a fantastic future ahead of his career, providing he carries on with the way things are with him at the moment. Because sometimes you can get some unbelievable publicity and you start thinking you're far, far better than you are. But I think he's a tremendous player, James. The other lad, seems to be drifting in and out the side at the moment, isn't he? He doesn't seem to be, not number one on the team sheet, but whereas I think I don't know how many games James has played, but the other lad I think is most probably played half the amount of games. But I think the lad James is a tremendous player.
Yeah, I think he's done brilliant. When he plays, he gets forward. He's got good delivery as well. He's got good service from the right-hand side. Strikes a lovely ball. Callum Hudson-Odoi, the manager Tuchel, he's turned around to him and he put him on a sub, didn't he, a couple of games ago, and then took the sub off. Yeah. Listen, he's stamped his authority on him. If you're not doing what I tell you to do, you're coming off, and it's probably given Callum Hudson-Odoi a bit of a kick up the backside. But he's producing now. Yeah. And that's the main thing. And forget what's happened. He put him on a sub and he's taken him off. That's gone by now. Just get on and keep playing. But you've got to do what I tell you to do. He's the boss.
Yeah, I do suspect that James will play on the right wing back and possibly Hudson-Odoi will play out on wide right position. Gents, just sort of go back to Leeds United and the actual ground of Ellen Road. You said they had great atmosphere. Was it sort of type of intimidating atmosphere that certain players that you played with sort of buckled because of the abuse or the intimidating atmosphere that Leeds produced?
No, I don't think it had anything to do with the crowd or anything like that. It's just that I think they were an exceptional side. And, the likes of Billy Bremner and Johnny Giles and Eddie Gray would have got in any top side, the same as like Peter Osgood, Alan Hudson and Charlie Cook. So it was just a tough place to go to get a result.
I remember going to Ellen Road, not with Chelsea, but with another club, and we had a guy sort of like on trial, really, on loan, and it was an Aussie, and he said to me before the game, he said, "What's Ellen Road like?" I said, "Well, I said it's some place." I said, "But they're really good fans, they appreciate you, and they're really, really good to you." I said, "One of the things you can do to help you out," and I said it as a joke, I said, "is to go over and give them a wave." Well, when we got there, we walked on the pitch and the crowd started booing. And I said, "If you go over there and give them a wave, they'll give you a cheer." And he walked over and started waving where they threw stuff at him They'd absolutely killed him. I think he lasted 12 minutes during the game because every time he got the ball, they mullered him. So the manager had to take him off after 15 minutes. Bless him. And he didn't play again. You've got to be ready. You've got to be ready for it. They're merciless, that crowd.
It is an interesting rivalry between Chelsea and Leeds. It's just a shame that, obviously, with COVID happening at the moment, that fans aren't there to do similar to what you just sort of described, Gal. But I'm personally expecting a win tomorrow. I think that Tuchel's got the side quite on song, but also he's probably got a one eye on the game against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. Gents, I just want to sort of quickly sort of touch on that if we can. We won 1-0 at their place. It was a fantastic performance. Are you predicting, gents, that we can go through to the quarterfinals?
Well, obviously, I think when it comes to return leg, it's going to be a difficult game, but it must be a terrific advantage that you've gone over there and won 1-0. I think so. I'm quietly confident that we will progress, into the next round.
Yeah, I'm the same as well. And I thought it was another exceptional display when we played them over there, and especially winning 1-0. It's up to them, isn't it? What sort of tactics are they gonna produce on the night? Are they gonna come and attack us? Well, they've got to try and get a goal back, and they'll probably, hopefully, later on in the second half, leave themselves open, and we can nick another couple of goals. But I'm really, really confident we'll go through.
I think the first goal will be key on Wednesday night. Obviously, if we get it, then there's a very high chance, I believe, we will go through. If Atletico get it, I don't think they'll sort of rest on their laurels. I do think they'll probably go out and get us, try and get a second or even a third. So we have to sort of be strong, and I think that Tuchel will do that with the back five. I think he will obviously change certain players' positions as well. So that will be an interesting test for us.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, like you just said there, it'd be interesting to see what side he picks. Will he pick a more defensive side, or will he pick an attacking side? It's very difficult, Ron, isn't it? What would you do?
I think, maybe we're old-fashioned, but, they say the best form of defence is to attack. So I think the onus is on Chelsea, for the first, 20 minutes just to see how the game lies and see, what the opposition, whether they're going to continue playing defensively or what. But no, I'm quietly confident that we'll progress through to the next stage.
Gents, if we just move on quickly to a certain birthday that occurred this week. It was Chelsea's 116th birthday that fell a couple of days ago. I just want to sort of quickly discuss certain birthday memories, if you will. What sort of memories do you count whenever you had your birthdays when you was playing football? So have you got any sort of stories you can tell whenever sort of a birthday came around and it was perhaps yours or a family member's, but you had to play football on that same day?
Well, it was a thing, like if your birthday fell on a match day, you just had to get on with it. You go and play the game. But I remember a couple of times, not only birthdays, but over Christmas time, being locked up in hotels for 2 or 3 days, where you had 2 or 3 games on the Boxing Day. That was tough. Birthdays, it was just a normal thing. Normally you go into training, they'll come out with a cake or something like that for you, or sing your happy birthday, and then throw it all over you, or trash your car or something like that, But yeah, that's what I remember from my birthdays. And obviously when you're playing, it's birthdays come along, and there's some you want to remember, there's some you want to forget, because it's brilliant being 29 years of age if you're a football player, because you're not 30, because 30, everyone says, well, you're washed up, you're getting old, and so I'd rather be 29 for about 15 years. I think I was. Well, you was, Ron, weren't you? You was 29 for
I think
about 30 years.
Everybody seemed to know when the players' birthdays were. One thing what they used to do I don't think it happened in Chivers' time, because I don't think the characters was around your teammates, is that they used to get the old boot polish and, get the old black polish and rub round your down below sort of thing. So that was one of the things that Ozzy and all them used to get up to. But no, they, if you was training at Chelsea for the day, you used to get, everybody knew when your birthdays were. They'd say, come, let's go across the road, or, just down Fulham, and have a couple of drinks and that. And I think that, without knocking, say, sides today, and I'm sure it happened in Chivers' time, if somebody said, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday or whatever it is, you'd always get, if there was 16, 17 of you in the squad, I'd guarantee you'd always get a dozen of you who'd go out and have a few drinks. I'm sure it happened in your time, Chivs, didn't it?
Yeah, we'd pop out and have orange juice, Coke, that sort of stuff. No alcoholic beverages, obviously. Yeah, we'd all meet down the pub and have a Coke, and you'd go right on the lash, wouldn't you? And have a right good few pints and enjoy it. Really? That's what it used to be. Slightly changed now. Yeah. But it all added to the team spirit. That was what it was all about, Ronnie, wasn't it?
Well,
going out together and socialising together. That was all about.
I remember when you had, like, one day a week we trained of a Friday down at Stamford Bridge, and there used to be a secretary, John Battersby. He'd come in and say, look, Ron, could you do something? There's a young lad in St Stephen's Hospital, which was about half a mile down the road, that's just got something, an illness or an operation. Could you have a chat with one or two of the lads? And, you'd put it around in the dressing room, and you'd always get, I would think, 7 or 8 of the lads that were quite happy to go down and, meet, some photos done with the lads and things like that. And, and I'm going to repeat myself and say that I was very privileged, to play for Chelsea and captain a side and a great bunch of lads.
Very well put. Another birthday that occurred as well quite recently is a certain Didier Drogba. It was his birthday yesterday. Gents, obviously you part of the hospitality sector at the time Drogba was playing. Did you ever get the opportunity to meet him? And if you did, what was he like? And also, what was he like to watch as a striker?
Well, I think the fella's record as a striker speaks for itself. But I think the only time that, I don't say I was in his company is when they used to have these end of the season Player of the Year awards, and you'd nod over. I've never really had a 20-minute conversation or anything like that, because they're most probably got other things to do. But as I say, anybody that can score goals as regular as he said, it's got to be worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, he was the same as Ron. You see him at the Player of the Year, and you'll say hello and that, but a player for Chelsea, he was unbelievable, considering the start he had, because he didn't start his career at Chelsea too well. He kept him falling over, but once he got the hang of the Premier League, he was unbelievable, and at times unstoppable and unplayable. Playing against him, he had everything: pace, height, strength, could hold the ball up, and that's what. When he retired, Chelsea actually missed him, much more than probably what they thought they was going to do, because you ping the ball up to Didier and he'll hold it up for half an hour. He was that strong, and that quick. And it must have been hard for centre-halves to mark someone like that. He was always on the move in the box, and a great team player as well. He done fantastic for Chelsea. One of the all-time greats.
Yeah, I remember one sort of game I remember of his early spell was against West Brom at home, and he missed chance after chance after chance, and it got to a point where our own fans were booing him and just saying, get the F out of our club, you know, you're not good enough. And even the season after 05-06, he was sort of having chances that normally a decent striker would put away, but he wasn't. It was only the season after he came alive and he scored 20, 30 goals that season. Yes, we didn't win the league, but he was absolutely outstanding. He scored some fantastic goals around about 2006, 2007. So yeah, for me, Drogba, I wasn't his biggest fan when he first came in, but he certainly proved the doubters wrong. And for me, he is up there with the all-time great Chelsea strikers, in my opinion.
A thing with him as well, it probably would have been easier in the first 2 seasons for him, like Pulisic, out the side, wants to move. It would have been easier for Didier to have done that, but he stuck at it. He knew he was going to come good at some stage, and like you said, it took him 2 seasons. It takes a bit of time. I hope Christian Pulisic is listening to this. You just got to be patient, wait for your turn it on. But yeah, Didier was fantastic.
Well, in regards to Didier, we hope that he obviously had a good birthday, but we also hope that we do perform well against Leeds United tomorrow. It's a huge game. It's at 12:30 kickoff. If you're listening to this in England, it'll be on BT Sport. Gents, just by the way, we do have a American following as well. We've got a lot of people in Washington DC that are listening to us at the moment, and Mr. Chivers, your video announcing that you joined the Blue Day podcast, it's nearly reached 400 views on YouTube already.
Oh, fantastic. Good. How many we got over there?
Well, I don't have the actual numbers itself, but I have got the percentage. We've got about 20% of our overall audience is from America.
Brilliant. That's not bad running, is it?
There is every so often you get quite a few. I remember going over there a couple of times years ago at the supporters, different areas in America, and they have a huge following over there, Chelsea, of Americans. And
by the way, we're free to go over there, Ron, aren't we?
Anytime,
to get Chopper and Chivs over there, we'd love to come over to Washington. It'd be brilliant going over there. So if anyone wants to, get in contact with Keith.
Yes. If anybody's got any sort of tickets that they would like to give to us, contact us at the Blue Day Podcast at gmail.com. That would be a nice trip. But I've actually got the stats here, and this is how great we've done, and the feedback we've received from our first episode the other week was fantastic. We've got people in Australia that are listening to us at the moment, so thank you very much for that. We've got people in France, New Zealand, and South Africa. So thank you very much for all them that like the Blue Day podcast.
I went over to Australia many years ago to do some speaking, and the travelling around, from one place to the other, is horrendous. But you have some great supporters in Australia and America in some of the places that you've mentioned.
And like we said, we'll go over to all of them, Ron, won't we?
Yes. As long as we can stay overnight.
Over there. Yeah. They want us over there, we're going. We're off. We're off.
First class expenses all paid for. Brilliant.
All paid for. Yeah, fantastic.
So, gents, what we're going to do with the Leeds United game, and what we're going to do for the games between now and, of course, the end of the season, we're actually going to do some predictions. So, with the Leeds United game coming up, I'm predicting a 3-1 to Chelsea. Ron, I'll start with you. What do you predict?
I think it'll be a very close encounter, and I'll say 1-0 to Chelsea.
1-0.
I'm saying tough game. Might be under a little bit of pressure first half, but when we settle down, I say 2-0 to Chelsea.
2-0 to Chelsea. Okay, so what we're going to do on our next episode, we're going to have a look at this, and then we might, once we get a few games under our belt, we might actually have a league table, and who knows, there might actually be a trophy for the person who finishes top. Who knows?
Yeah, I'll tell you how to spell Chivers, if we just put it on there now, because I'm bound to win.
Listen, I'll tell you what we'll do, Keith.
Yes.
Whoever, if you're going to do say like a table or something like that, or give so many points to for people that want to look in, not so much this year because it's no football, but we'll get them 2 tickets for any of their games of their choice to the winner that gets the most correct or nearest, how you ever want you to organise the competition. If they're Chelsea supporters, they need to pick out a game as long as they give us plenty notice when the fixtures come out, and we'll meet and greet them at Chelsea. We take them round on the match days, and we give them 2 tickets for the game.
Wow, fantastic! That's a wonderful idea, Ron.
Yeah, get the viewers in. We need the viewers in, more viewers, don't we? Get them in. Yeah, terrific.
Fantastic. Right. We're going to end it momentarily, but I just want to do one more announcement in regards to. There was something that we put out on Facebook and also Instagram about we want to get Chelsea supporters involved with this Blue Day podcast, as we've now have 2 fantastic co-hosts in Chopper and Chivs. We want to have more supporters be part of this Blue Day podcast as well. So what we're going to do starting next week, if not next week, it will be the week after, we're going to have a question time with Chopper and Chivs. So if you have any questions that you want to ask Ron Chopper Harris or Gary Chivers, anything you want that's football related or in fact Chelsea related, send in your questions to the bluedaypodcast@gmail.com. They will be asked on air, and hopefully you will get the answer that you want. But if there's any questions you want, if you want to talk about their playing careers, if you want to talk about anything you want, as long as it's not something silly as in what did they have for dinner the other night or anything like that, send in your questions to the bluedaypodcast@gmail.com. We will more than happy to take the questions. And this for me, this will be quite exciting to get other people's sort of views, and I think this is a great way to interact with more Chelsea supporters, not just from this country, but from around the world.
No, that's a brilliant idea. Yeah, and we'll be happy to answer them, Ron, won't we?
Yeah,
truthfully.
Brilliant. Well, that is it for this week's episode of the Blue Day podcast. I'd like to thank my co-hosts Ron Chopper Harris and Gary Chivers for joining me again today. We're going to watch the Leeds United Chelsea game with great interest, and hopefully there is 3 points for the mighty Chelsea. We will be back to hopefully review the Leeds United game, but also the Atletico Madrid game. So we will announce when our next episode will be on. But all I can say is, gentlemen, is thank you very much again for being part of this podcast. And thank you, listeners, for listening in. Stay safe and carefree.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.